Caitlin Clark, did you turn down $15 million? Oh, that's a boss move. Oh, that's a crazy boss move. That's a flex. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
Caitlin Clark just walked away from a massive $15 million offer from Ice Cube's Big 3 league, and people can't stop talking. $15 million for only 10 games. Most players would jump at it. But Clark didn't just say no, she made a statement. This wasn't a rejection, it was a power move. It shows exactly where she stands in just her second year as a pro. Be honest, would you turn down $15 million to protect your WNBA career?
Notification. Caitlin Clark reportedly turned down $15 million. $15 million? Bro, 15. Hey, listen, I understand. You got Nike deals, you got freaking PGA Golf Tour, Live Golf Tour, you got hockey sponsor. I know you got a lot going on, but to turn down 15 M's?
Let's break it down. Ice Cube's Big 3 league put a jaw-dropping offer on the table for Caitlin Clark, $1.5 million per game. 10 games in total, adding up to a staggering $15 million package.
15.
Woo!
After
50.
it started at 5,
Right.
But the official final offer was $15 million for 10 weeks. He must be making some good dough, and I just think that it was more like a league thing.
She didn't want to be
anything.
Yeah,
She had to give the WNBA
and I'm sure many offers came to her, especially after I think we helped her.
Yeah, make more money
with some more money. If anything, you got a name like Ice Cube offering you $15 million on publicly, man. You got all that. That's all you need. That's all you need for the other 5 and the other 5 and the other 5 to come together and make up that.
For context, the average WNBA salary isn't even scratching the surface of that. Even the highest paid WNBA players don't sniff that money in a single year. Caitlin could have made in 10 weeks what her entire team makes in a season combined. And she still said, no, that's not a fluke. That's strategy. Caitlin Clark didn't turn down this deal because she's allergic to money. She turned it down because she doesn't need fast cash that risks her brand, her career, and her health. People forget that when Diana Taurasi skipped a WNBA season to play overseas in Russia, it was because her WNBA salary was peanuts compared to the overseas payday. Clark isn't in that spot. She's already sitting on endorsement deals that dwarf even $15 million. Let's break those down. Panini trading cards. Clark's cards sold millions on day one. Reports say she pulled in at least 7 figures from that deal alone. Wilson basketball partnership, that's not small money. Clark's logo stamped on basketballs is basically a printing press for profit. Corporate speaking engagements, 6 figures for half an hour. She's done multiple in a week. Add Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, and other deals into the pile, and it's safe to say she's already clearing tens of millions. So when people clutch their pearls and scream, she turned down $15 million. That's insane. The reality is it's not. Clark is already there financially. She doesn't need to risk playing in a league outside the WNBA to make ends meet. She's not a fringe player looking for side gigs. She's the most marketable women's basketball player on earth, and her endorsements pay like it. Now, let's talk risk. Playing in the Big 3 would have meant walking away from the WNBA for a season. The WNBA contract rules are clear. You can play overseas in the off-season, but you can't play another US-based pro league during WNBA season. So to accept Ice Cube's offer, Clark would have had to take a year off from the fever, walk away from her second pro season and gamble her momentum. That's career suicide. What happens if she takes the Big 3 deal and blows out a knee? Or worse, what if the Big 3 experiment flops? Then she's out of the WNBA loop. Her hype dies down and suddenly the endorsements don't look so secure. Short-term money, long-term risk. Clark is too smart for that. Haters love to scream. Well, she's dumb for turning down free money. No, she's smart for understanding leverage. She knows her real payday isn't in 10 games in some 3-on-3 gimmick league. It's in the WNBA's new $200 million media deal, where she is the face of the product. It's in the Nike signature shoe launching in 2026, which could make her hundreds of millions if it takes off like the LeBron or Jordan line. It's in being the centerpiece of the fever as they build around her. That's generational wealth, not quick cash. And here's where it gets funnier. The Big Three was drooling at the thought of using Clark as their poster child. Every commercial, every promo, every ticket, they'd plaster her face on it. She would have been the main attraction, the selling point for the entire league. And she knew it. That's why rejecting them is such a power flex. She told Ice Cube and Company, "You don't get to use me as your marketing plan. I already have my own." Meanwhile, the hypocrisy around this whole thing is hilarious. Remember when Rachel Data quoted something about Clark and got crushed for it? Fired, criticized, cancelled. Yet the Big Three can shamelessly try to poach her and no one bats an eye. The double standard is real, and Clark rejecting the deal just shines an even bigger light on it. Let's also be real. Clark isn't playing for rent money. She's already past the point where a few million changes her life. Once you hit $10 million net worth, your lifestyle doesn't really improve with more. You're set. Clark's endorsements already put her there. Another $15 million doesn't add freedom, it adds risk. She'd be risking her WNBA standing, her brand alignment, and possibly her health for a short-term payout she doesn't need. And the WNBA itself, they should be popping champagne over this. Clark choosing loyalty to the league over a monster paycheck proves she's invested in growing women's basketball where it matters. If she bailed for the Big Three, the league's credibility would have taken a hit. Networks and sponsors might question the value of investing in a league that can't even hold on to its biggest star. By saying no, Clark protected her league's growth and indirectly every other player's paycheck. Of course, haters spin it differently. They say she's too scared to play against men. Wrong. She already played Team USA scrimmages. She's not scared. She's smart. Big Three isn't about competition. It's about spectacle. It's ex-NBA players running 3-on-3 exhibitions with rap concerts attached. Clark doesn't need that circus. She's playing real basketball against real competition on a real stage. And let's not ignore the bigger point. This offer proves how valuable Clark really is. Ice Cube wasn't offering Angel Reese $15 million. He wasn't offering AJA Wilson $15 million. He wasn't offering Brianna Stewart $15 million. It was Caitlin Clark. Why? Because she's the one who moves the needle. She's the one who sells tickets, who boosts ratings, who fills arenas. Even leagues outside of women's basketball want a piece of her shine. That tells you everything about her power. Now, for everyone saying Caitlin Clark left money on the table, let's put this into perspective. $15 million sounds massive when you compare it to her WNBA salary. Sure, the Fever pay her just under $80,000 base, but the salary number is irrelevant for someone in her position. Clark isn't living off that paycheck.
Caitlin Clark deal that's on the table from Cube for the Big Three, $5 million for her to do that. Is there a way for her to do that and the WNBA?
Practically, probably. What I would say is she's a bit of a unicorn, so I'm sure she can make $5 million off the court as part of the WNBA from endorsement.
She can do that,
I
you
do
think?
believe she's that big an athlete and that big a star right now. And I think what she will embrace is she has the ability to elevate the WNBA in a way maybe no athlete ever has. For as incredible as some of these WNBA players in the first 25 years have been, and is Diana Taurasi the greatest women's basketball player ever, Caitlin Clark at this moment in time, if Diana Taurasi was Caitlin Clark, it would be Diana Taurasi today. But Caitlin Clark today, given what has happened in the last 5 or 6 years around women's sports and the energy and the momentum, she can transform that league. And the economics of that, and the reputational benefit of that, and the legacy part of that is going to be actually incredibly powerful. And I think she will embrace that and not just chase $5 million for the Big Three.
Her real wealth comes from endorsements, appearances, merchandise, and partnerships. Look at the Panini trading card deal alone. On day one of release, millions in cards flew off shelves. Estimates say Clark personally cleared at least $1 million from that single drop. Just one deal. Then there's Wilson basketball stamped with her logo, stocked in youth leagues across America by the truckload. That's more millions. Add Gatorade, State Farm, and Nike, and she's already deep into 8 figures before finishing her second WNBA season. Now layer in appearance fees. Reports say brands are wiring $200,000 for 30 minutes of her time. She can stack multiple in a week if she wants. Do the math, millions each month, easily. Suddenly Ice Cube's $15 million for 10 games doesn't feel life-changing. It feels like unnecessary risk. And that word matters. Risk. People love comparing this to Diana Taurasi skipping a WNBA season when Russia offered her more money. But those situations don't line up. Taurasi chased the bag because the WNBA checks were small. She never had endorsements at Clark's level. Overseas was survival, not luxury. Clark doesn't need that gamble. She's secure. Her WNBA base might not be millions, but her sponsors make sure she is. And walking into the Big 3 would jeopardize all of it. Endorsement contracts are often tied to exclusivity. Sponsors want stars on the biggest courts, in the most prestigious leagues. Picture Nike spending millions to brand Clark as the WNBA's centerpiece, only to see her playing in some 3-on-3 exhibition. That destroys the story they are selling. Because brands don't pay for circus acts. They pay for prestige. And Clark knows that. That's why she played this smart. Turning down $15 million wasn't just about basketball. It was about protecting her endorsement empire. Why take a short-term cash grab that risks alienating Nike, Wilson, or Panini when those deals could stretch for decades? She chose stability over spectacle. Now, let's look at the optics inside the WNBA. Imagine if Clark had bolted for the Big 3. What message would that send? The most marketable star in women's basketball doesn't even want to play in her own league. That would crush the WNBA's credibility. TV partners who just signed a $200 million rights deal would panic. Sponsors might hesitate. The league's growth that Clark herself is fueling, could stall by saying no. She didn't just protect herself. She protected the league. She proved she's invested in making the WNBA thrive, not just cashing checks wherever they come. That makes her even more valuable to her peers, even the ones who don't like her. Because when the league makes more money, eventually all players benefit. Salaries go up, exposure rises, everyone wins. But the haters don't see it that way. The second the report came out, social media exploded. She's scared to play against men. She doesn't want the smoke. She missed her chance to prove herself. This is the same tired script that's been recycled every time Clark takes a hit. Haters move the goalposts. If she dominates the WNBA, they say it's easy. If she says no to the Big 3, they say she's ducking competition. There's no winning with people who are determined to downplay her. Let's be honest about the Big 3. It's not real basketball. It's entertainment. It's retired NBA players running half-court sets with a 4-point line thrown in for fun. It's a sideshow, not a legitimate career move. Could Clark light it up there? Of course. Her shooting range alone would make her box office gold. But it's not worth her time. She's already on the biggest stage she can be. Think about the long-term picture. Caitlin Clark is lining herself up for something bigger than one-off checks. She's positioning herself to be the first women's basketball player with $1 billion brand. Nike's already teased her signature shoe line scheduled for 2026. If that takes off, and it will because her fan base will buy anything with her initials. We're talking about revenue streams that dwarf anything Ice Cube could throw at her. LeBron James made more money off his Nike line than from his NBA contracts. Clark could do the same. Rejecting $15 million isn't rejection, it's prioritization. She's betting on the long play. And the long play for Caitlin Clark is endorsements, media rights, and being the face of the league for the next decade. $15 million might look huge today, but over 10 years, her endorsement empire could clear 10 times that without her ever stepping outside the WNBA. And let's not overlook the cultural side. If Clark took the Big 3 deal, critics would have hammered her as disloyal, greedy, or opportunistic. She would have been painted as abandoning women's basketball to chase men's scraps. Fair or not, that's how it would have been spun. By staying put, she controls the narrative. She's not the player who left the WNBA. She's the player who elevated it. That's legacy building. The irony is that Ice Cube offering $15 million only confirms her status. Nobody is offering that money to any other WNBA player. Not A.A. Wilson, not Breanna Stewart, not Angel Ree, just Clark. That's because she's the one moving numbers. The Fevers sell out on the road because of her. TV deals exist because of her. Merchandise flies off shelves because of her. Ice Cube saw that and tried to poach it. She shut him down. That's power. So for the people shocked that Clark walked away from $15 million, here's the reality. She didn't lose anything. She gained credibility, leverage, and respect from the institutions that matter most. The WNBA, her sponsors, and her long-term brand. The haters are stunned because they can't understand someone turning down quick money. But Clark isn't thinking about quick. She's thinking about forever. So, there it is. Caitlin Clark rejected Ice Cube's $15 million Big 3 deal, and the haters are in shock. But this wasn't fear or arrogance. It was strategy. She's already building wealth bigger than short-term contracts can offer, and she's protecting her league in the process. What do you think? Smart move or miss chance? Drop your take.